Hey guys, Jay here. Today I'm going to be showing you some maintenance, some daily and maybe weekly maintenance that you should be doing on your printer to make sure it keeps running and doesn't break. Let's dive right in. Foremost, check your ink levels. It's super easy, but it's something that's easily overlooked because ink lasts what seems like a long time, but your white ink won't last as long, your varnish may not last as long. But check your ink levels. I suggest doing that every day because it's so easy. Just open the cap and check. If you guys need some good inks, you can check over to jaysprinterparts.com. We got some great printer parts for DTF and UV inks over there. The second thing you want to do on daily maintenance is, well, mine is a Hanzo Soft Ran XP600 print head, refined color, 6090 flatbed UV printer. The manufacturer suggests to leave the printer turned on, so we leave our printers turned on, and they do cleaning cycles about every 8 hours. It does a clean on the print head to make sure the print heads stay moist with ink. And I would do this even if we're going away on a vacation or for the weekend. Just leave your printers on. They don't use much electricity at all, and they will try to do their best to keep their print heads from clogging. Okay, so we've checked our ink levels. If you don't have a print head stirrer, if you don't have a white head stirrer, pick up and shake that white ink bottle. Do not let that white ink separate. If it separates, it's going to clog your print head. If you don't have a white ink stirrer, just pick up the well, shake it back and forth a couple times, set it down. Do that in the morning, and then again in the evening when you're done. Something else that gets forgotten is your waste ink. On these, there's a waste ink bottle on the back of your machine, and it's exposed. Actually, I'll carry you back in there because I'm not wearing gloves, and I just touched it and I got ink on my fingers. This is your waste bottle. So one of these is varnish, one of these is color, one of these is white. And every time it cleans and purges, it messes it and fills up this bottle back here. And if you don't check this bottle every so often, you'll see that you get a big ink mess as it spews out here. So if you're leaving your printer on, it does automatic cleans. You do cleans in the morning and all that good stuff. It's going to fill up that bottle. I suggest checking that at least every other day, if not every day. Make sure that thing remains empty and not going to overflow. At least glance at it. It's super easy. And about once a week, you're going to want to check out your raster strip. And your raster strip, if you don't know, some people call it a readout strip. I don't know. This ribbon right here, right above these belts. And there's this really simple way to clean that. I have a video, actually, I go in depth on how to clean that if you have that problem. I'll put that link here, and then also I'll try to reference that at the end of the video. I'm not going to bore you with that now, but you just get some denatured alcohol and you wipe that off and keep it clean. That'll prevent you from going, what the heck is going on down the road. The next step, which I think is actually the most absolute important step of this whole process, and that is do a nozzle check. Every time you go to print, nozzle check, every day. You're not printing that day, run a nozzle check, get your nozzle check looking good. I actually have a video on this too, on how to get a nozzle check looking good. I'll try to put a card right here if I remember. If not, I'll put it at the end of the video. If not, hey, subscribe. You could go back and check all my videos because it's in there and it'll be entitled How to Keep Your White Ink from Drying Up. Because yes, nozzle checks will keep your print heads moist, and getting them looking good will keep them lasting as long as they possibly can. So when I mean nozzle check your varnish, your white, and your CMYK, all three. And get all three of your nozzle checks looking good. And let me see if I get something here that... So this is a nozzle check that we did this morning. It's not the best. If you don't get the best you possibly can. Do a flush or a clean and get your nozzle check on all 2, 3, 1 print heads, whatever you have, looking perfect. And that'll keep your print heads from clogging and lasting as long as they possibly can. Every 2, 3, 4 weeks, we need to oil the guideways or the rails, which I actually need to oil now. So maybe I'll do a video on how to do that and post that in the link if I get it up in time. These are your guideways on your bed. So we want to take a cloth, wipe these off. And then we'll move the bed forward, wipe that off. And then this is the guideway right here that your print head runs on. It's actually really important to keep that nice and clean. See how dirty that was? I gotta clean it. Keep that clean, and then a couple drops of oil. That'll keep that thing going good. The most important one is your X rail. Make sure that one stays nice and squeaky clean and oiled, otherwise your bearings are gonna go bad and your printer's gonna break again, right? That's what you feel like. You feel like you're babysitting them and fixing them all the time. Guys, that they're totally worth it once you learn how to babysit it. I've been having an issue with this printer specifically. By the way, there's 2 screws in the front of this. Just take those out, and this lifts right up. And then you can see your print heads here. I've been having a problem with my Y, or my yellow ink tube, tightening up and pulling my damper out. So I have learned to just go ahead and tug on this about once a day, and then push my damper down in there. You may fall into that problem, lose a color, and be like, what's going on? Your damper's just a little loose. So you gotta put your damper down, tug on the ink. Once you get the good nozzle check, you're ready to print after you do those steps. But there are some long, typically after you get a good nozzle, check your ink levels. You do nozzle check your waste tube. You get a good nozzle check on all of your print heads that you have, you're ready to print for the day. So now I'm going to touch base on some stuff that I would do after maybe a month, 2-3 months. I would like to check these and do these. So about every 3 months, you should shut the power off on your machine. And I suggest replacing your 29-pin cables, your ribbon cables here, because they like to go bad because ink gets dripped down in here and they'll go bad. And you can switch them out prematurely. They're cheap, guys. Prematurely switch those out before they go bad. The next thing I like to do is your caps. By the way, I have a video on how to switch those out and how to switch out print heads. I don't have enough room probably on the end card to put those, but you can go in there and search how to switch an XP600 print head out, and I'll show you how to do the print head and the ribbon cables. I'm trying my best here. Okay, so and then again, every 3 months, there's these ink pads is what they call them, or your capping station or your print head caps, cause lots of problems. They cause lots of problems. I've been just switching these out every 3 months. I've been switching out my ink pads or my caps, whether they need it or not. They're relatively cheap part. They're easy on hand normally in stock. And I'll switch these out. And that makes sure we have a good seal on the bottom of our print heads, because not only does it seal it to keep it from drying out, but it also seals it and creates a seal around the print head. And that's what sucks the ink out to prime your ink, to get the ink going. It's very important. The ink pads are very important, or the capping station is very important to your print heads. I have a video on that as well on my channel if you want to see that. Visually inspect the tubes, the ink tubes coming in. Make sure there's nothing kinked or rubbing weird. I kind of do that every day anyways, but just to visually inspect, look at your ink tubes and check that out. I like to switch out the limit sensors. I've actually not had any of these go bad. Probably because I switch them out about every 3 or 4 months. But you have a sensor right here. I'll show you what it looks like. Start over. So you have a limit sensor right here for your X. It's really easy to get to. This just unplugs from here and those 2 screws. It's super easy. And then you have one at the front of your bed. And then you have the same thing at the back of your bed. So they're super easy to change out. That's something that can fail and be catastrophic to your business if your printer goes down and you got to wait a week, or even 3 days. Even if you order from jaysprinterparts.com and you have it overnight, it'd be the next day, but still you're down a day over a $15 part that you could have just had in stock or just changed out prematurely. And lastly, that's going to bring me to my encoder. So the encoder strip is here. I'm sorry, the raster strip is here. I like to change my raster strip every 3 months. We try to clean that once a week, once every 2 weeks. Got dust on it can make it go bad. And then your encoder, which is really hard to get to back here. Again, I have a video on this, you guys can watch that, but we'll switch out the encoder and the raster strip about every 3 months, whether it needs it or not, because that will definitely kill your printer until you get the parts replaced. As far as the print heads go, I try to do the best that I can to have a print head that get a good perfect nozzle check. If you're running your varnish and your white, if you can typically have a good nozzle check on your CMYK for a long time, and then it starts to go bad and it starts to clog up, you can move that to your white, and then you have not such a good print head on your white or your varnish, maybe running at 70%, and then you try to keep that at 70% as long as you can until it clogs, and then try to do a flush if you can, a manual flush. If you can't do that, you're gonna have to replace it out. Typically, I budget replacing my print head every 3 months. I know nobody thinks that they should be replaced that long. I don't replace them until they're dead. Every 3 months, I would suggest budgeting every 3 months to replace your print head. They're gonna tell you that they can last 6 months, 10 months. I've had them last 6 months before, but we're running, I don't know. So that one's got 8, that printer's got 2, this one's got 3, this one's got 2. That's how many print heads we're running, and I budget to replace them every 3 months. And then I started noting on the side how long it's been since I've replaced them. So this one was replaced, my white print head on this one was replaced August 16th, 2023, and today is November 2nd, I think, 2023, maybe it's the 3rd, I don't know. And then the color was replaced August 30th, 2023. So that's the last time those were replaced on this machine. I like to know exactly how long they're lasting because print heads aren't cheap, yo. As you know, how long they're lasting, and then if I have a problem with the print heads and they're not lasting as long as they should, I'm going to be switching vendor. Shutting down for the day. You want to get a lint-free cloth like so. Oh, I almost completely forgot your wipers. So you have this wiper right here. You may or may not know this. These get filled with ink as they go. What happens, you clean your print head and then they get a little tiny drop of ink on it, and after you cleanse it, it comes across, it catches that little tiny drop of ink so it doesn't ruin whatever you're printing on. And you can tell it works because they're clogged and gross. So I suggest this gets replaced every 1 to 2 months. These are super cheap. In fact, I mail them out for free at jsprinterparts.com. If you need one, I'll mail one out to you for free. No problem. A bad wiper can cause a bad print. A bad wiper can ruin a print head. And if you can get them for free from me, just replace them out every 1 to 2 months. It's super easy. Save you a print head, or at least along its life. Okay, so we're done printing for the day. I like to send my bed all the way to the back. And then we'll come out here, open my printer. And then I have these lint-free cloths, which is actually just a high-quality rag. And I'll come in here and I'm gonna just lightly wipe the bottom of my print head, especially the white. For some reason around the white, it gets chunky. And you're gonna wanna make sure there's no chunk on that. That's something people miss, because if that gets chunky, it's not gonna cause a good seal. I wish I could show it to you, but I can't. Anyway, so we just wipe those off. Get any wet ink residue there. If you don't wipe those up, it gets chunky, like I said. And then if it gets chunky, it can affect the seal on your print head. And it doesn't take long, just a month, maybe 2 months without wiping that, and that'll get a build-up residue on it, and then it won't seal, and you'll be wondering what's wrong, and you're going to be blaming the printer manufacturer, you're going to be blaming the caps, you're going to be blaming the print, everything, and then you're the only one to blame for not wiping your butt. And then we also have the caps. This to the caps. So with this pulled over, you're going to take the same red rag and wipe the seal off on all of your caps, rotating your rag as you go so you don't mix the CMYK into the white. I mean, if you do, you do, whatever. Wipe those all off and then send it home. I leave it turned on, that's done, it's ready to go. Ready to print for you tomorrow. But tomorrow morning, you're gonna have a bad nozzle check. Clean it, nozzle check it. That's the most important. Keep that in a good nozzle check every day, even if it's like Saturday and you're not working Saturday, but the printer's just in your craft room maybe, if you're not running a business, and just run over there, get a good nozzle check. Take you 10 minutes, 5 minutes maybe. Get a good nozzle check. Go about your day. You know your printer's going to be in great shape when you go to print on Monday or Sunday or whenever it is you print. If you guys are looking to have a place where you can talk, complain, vent, or ask questions about any commercial printer, we've started a Facebook group. I'm going to post a link to that in the description for you to check out. Jay'sPrinterParts.com is actually looking for YouTube affiliates. So if you guys use YouTube and you want to earn some extra money, you might as well check out that link in the description down there. And apply. What's the worst we're going to do? Say no. Guys, I'm Jay. This is my to-do list. Thanks for stopping.